Acharya. Charity elevates a person, how it increases the fame of a person. Then yourself discussed about Payodi, ocean, Payodan, clouds, cloud shower rain, and ocean receives the rain. So this person giving the rain, the person giving is always on the higher stage, and the person accepting is in the lower stage. And then you also have discussed about 44th, the jewel, 44th verse is a jewel cut on a polishing stone, a conqueror wounded by weapons, an elephant weakened by passion, rivers with their sandy beaches laid bare in autumn, the moon slendered into crescent. All these appear beautiful by their slenderness. Same is the case with person whose wealth has been diminished by giving it to the needy. And we also discuss about Shobante. Shobante is used here. It's a in all this verse, just as how the lamp spreads its light everywhere. Similarly, Shobante should be applicable for all the above. Shobante Galita Vibhavaschar Charthishu Naraha. Hence, it is called Deepak Alankar. When things which are not intended to be described and things intended to be described or related by one common attribute, then it gives rise to Deepak Alankar. So common attribute over here is Shobante, which means beautiful. So the intended subject of the person is of the shloka is that the one who is giving charity, and unintended in the shloka is the others, which we just said about the jewel, etc. So word Shobante is common attribute for all. So example given was Bali Maharaj. Then the last one, 45th verse. This is Shikharani meter. The person need of wealth. He is longing to obtain little bit of barley. And that same person, after some time, he becomes greatly wealthy. He considers the entire world as a piece of straw. Therefore, in this world, the greatness and smallness which are attached to things of this world, it depends on the condition of the person. For an impoverished person, he attaches great value to a handful of barley. And that same person, when he becomes rich, he considers entire world as a piece of straw. So now example over here you gave was for Narada speaks to Nala Kuvera and Manigriv. One whose body is pricked by pins can understand the pain of others who are pin pricked. And Narada says, because you do not feel the pain of others, that's why you feel proud. And Dhruv Maharaj example yourself gave about. So how he was pained by Suniti's words, Surichi's words, and pierced by negative emotions, and he was hankering for wealth. And then afterwards, when his heart became cleansed and was filled with Krishna Prem, Dhruv Maharaj considered that same kingdom which he aspired for as a broken piece of glass. So the value of a particular thing, it depends on the state of consciousness of the person. So Dhruva's negative emotions for wanting a kingdom greater than Brahma. And yes, the same thing. Yeah. Okay, Prabhuji, finished.
Yeah, thank you, Mataji. Thank you for summarizing. We will go ahead to the 46th shloka. We share the screen. Rajan dudukshasi yadi shitidenumetam tenadya vatsamiva lokamamum pushana tasmimcha samyaganisham pariposhyamane nana palai palati kalpalateva bhumihi. So this is a shloka giving an instruction to the king. Can be applicable, everyone can take lesson. So Rajan, because he's addressing to the king, hey Rajan, yadi yetam kshiti denum dudukshasi. That means if you want to milk this earth, which is in the form of a cow, यदि इस पृथ्वी रूपी गाय को दुहने की इच्छा करते हो, if you want to milk this cow shaped earth, if you want to do what you, if you desire that, what you should do, यदि एतां क्षितिदेनुं दुदुक्षसि तेन अद्य वत्समिव अमुं लोकं पुषाण. Then you must actually, amum lokam, lokam here refers to the citizens, can mean the kingdom also, citizens. You must actually pushana, you must protect, you must take care of your citizens like a vatsa, like a calf. That means if you want to actually milk the cow, that means if you want the cow, if you want to milk the earth, if you want the earth to supply all the riches, then you must perform the responsibility of taking care of the citizens. That is what the meaning is. Tasmim cha anisham samyak pariposhyamane bhumihi kalpalata iva nanapalaihi palati. Tasmim cha anisham, if you every day, if you always samyak pariposhyamane, if you nicely take care of your citizens, if you nicely protect your citizens' kingdom, then bhumihi, the bhumi, kalpalata iva, like a desire tree, nana palaihi palati, it will actually produce all different fruits. It will fulfill, it will produce all the different necessities. That is what the shloka is. So Prithvi is also called as Ratna Garbha, which is actually possessed of all the Ratnas. If somebody wants to get all the Ratnas from the Prithvi, from the earth, if the king wants to get that, then the king should do Praja Palanam Apekshaniyam. He should actually properly protect the citizens. He should take care of the citizens like a Vatsa. So this verse, if you see, we can see in terms of the king also. In the Srimad Bhagavatam, if you see some examples, for example, there is a description of Maharaj Gaya's rule. Yam abhyasinchan paraya mudasati satyashisho dakshakanya saridbihi yasya prajanam duduhe darashisho nirashisho gunavatsa snutoda. The planet Earth personified came as a cow, and as though she saw her calf, she delivered milk profusely when she saw all the good qualities of Maharaj Gaya. In other words, Maharaj Gaya was able to derive all the benefits from the earth and thus satisfy the desires of his citizens. However, he personally had no desire. So in this shloka, the Bhagavatam, it is said that just like a cow, when it sees the calf, naturally the affection flows and then supplies the milk. Similarly, when the Mother Earth saw the good qualities of the King Gaya, Mother Earth produced all the riches profusely. Although Maharaj Gaya, he personally did not desire for his enjoyment. But by seeing his good qualities, Earth had the confidence that he will use it for the right purpose. By seeing his good qualities, it includes that how Maharaj Gaya was responsible, he was taking care of the citizens properly. That also we can see. And also his personal good qualities. Another example, there is a description of Yudhishthira Maharaj's rule. Kamam vavarsha parjanya sarva kama dugamahi Sarvakama Dugamahi Sishichu Sma Vrajam Gava Payaso Daswatir Muda. The clouds rained sufficient water, the earth yielded all the desired products. Sarvakama Dugamahi. And the cows with full udders in joy sprinkled milk in the cow pens. The cow pens were actually sprinkled with the excess milk given by the cows actually. And the rivers, mountains, trees, all yielded their products in every season. Generally, one of the sign of a pious kingdom or a pious place is that the rains will come in the appropriate season. And the fruits will come in the appropriate season. That's a sign of a piety actually. And even the living beings suffered no anxiety, sickness, or inconveniences caused by nature during Yudhishthira Maharaj's rule. Similar description also comes during Prithu Maharaj's rule. The earth yielded all the desired objects to Prithu. The rivers flowed with all the saps, yogurt. The tall trees dropped honey, produced fruit. So we can see all these examples, whether Prithu Maharaj, Yudhishthira Maharaj, Maharaj Gaya, all of them responsibly ruled, and they personally they were excelling in their qualities, so therefore the earth supplies all the necessities. So one place Prabhupada says in a purport in Bhagavad Gita, I think 14th chapter, even if a section of the society, even a small, one particular section of the society, if that section of the society can be elevated to the mode of goodness, then because of that section of the society, the whole society will get benefited. When even a small portion of the society is elevated to the mode of goodness, when they become devotees, when they perform the dharma properly, then the earth will produce the necessities. In producing the necessities for that section, even the other people will get benefited, like that he says. And there is a description of how the Prithu Maharaj ruled the kingdom. So in this particular shloka, Bhartrhari is saying that to the king, if you want the earth to produce all the necessities, you must protect the citizens properly. You must take care of the citizens properly. That is why the word is Pushana, or Pariposhya Mane Sati. Pariposhya Mane. If the citizens are protected nicely, then the Kalpalata iva bhumihi nana palaihi palati. So in the Bhagavatam, regarding Prithu Maharaj's rule, it is described Gopithaya Jagat Srishtehe Kale Sve Sve Achyutatmakaha Manovat Vrittibis Saumyair Gunai Samranjayan Prajaha. Achyuta Atmakaha. He was always thinking of Lord Achyuta. Always thinking of the Lord. Gopithaya, in order to protect the Gopithaya Jagat Srishti, in order to protect the created universe. Kale, according to the time. Manovag Vrittibis Saumyair Gunai Samranjayan Prajaha. He pleased the citizens by his attractive qualities, words, and mind. Manovag Vrittibihi Saumyair Gunai Samranjayan Prajaha. Saumyair Gunaihi. What kind of qualities? Attractive qualities. And by the Manovritti and Vagvritti, by his words and mind, he pleased the citizens. So we see Prithu Maharaj was thinking of the Lord Achyutatmaka, but in order to protect the universe, he pleased the citizens by his qualities, mind, and words. So in this purport, Prabhupada says that the word Achyutatmaka is important because Prithu Maharaj ruled the world as a representative of the Lord. So as a representative of the Lord, he knows what is the purpose of the Lord's creation. He knows why the living entities have come to this material world. So those who are not Achyutatmaka, they cannot understand the purpose of the Lord's creation. So the material world has a purpose behind it. Even the modern scientists cannot understand the purpose, nor do they even believe in the existence of a creator. So a devotee can only, Achyutatmaka, he can only understand the purpose of the creation. What is the purpose of the creation? To give facilities to the living entities who want to lord it over matter. That means he should give facilities to the living entities to lord it over matter, but according to dharma. So because every living entity has come to this world for sense enjoyment. And the duty of the ruler, when he is trying to provide their sense enjoyment within the boundaries of dharma, he should also simultaneously elevate them in Krishna consciousness, facilitate them in their spiritual life. So with this idea in mind, Prithu Maharaj ruled the world. So he ruled the world. So we see, that is why the word Raja, what is the meaning of the word Raja? Again, there is another verse in connection to Prithu. Rajeti Adan Namadeyam Soma Raja Ivaparaha Suryavat Visrijan Grishnan Pratapamscha Bhuvo Vasu. So he took the name called as Raja, Raja Iti Adan Namadeyam. He took the name Raja, and he was like Soma Raja Ivapara. He was like another moon or chief of the gods. Suryavat, he was also like the sun. Visrijan Grishnan. Sun does two things. Visrijan and Grishnan. Sun actually evaporates all the water. At the same time, at a suitable time, it also provides rain. Similarly, Prithu Maharaj, he extracted wealth in the form of taxes from the citizens, and then he also provided the necessities at the right time to the right people from the tax money. In that way, he was like a son. So he took the name Raja because Raja, there is a beautiful verse again in the Bhagavatam 4.16.15. Ranjayishyati yallokam ayam atma vicheshtitaihi athamum ahu rajanam mano ranjanakaihi prajaha. Ranjayishyati yallokam. Ranjayishyati means because he will please the world by his activities, atma vicheshtitaihi, which are pleasing to the mind. Manoranjan, we say the word Manoranjan. The same word comes here. Atamum ahu rajanam manoranjanakaihi prajaha. Because he will please the world by his activities, which are pleasing to the mind, manoranjanakaihi, the citizens will call him by the word Raja. Ata amum ahu rajanam. So therefore, the word Raja comes in two ways, actually. One meaning is that Rajati iti Raja. Rajati means one who shines. The person who shines is called Raja. But the word Raja also comes in another way. Ranjayati iti Raja. That means one who pleases others. He is called as Raja. So here, in this particular verse, the word Raja, the derivation of the Raja is taken in the second sense. Ranjayati iti Raja. Ranjayishyati yallokam ayam atma vicheshtitai Atamum ahu rajanam manorajjanakaihi praja. So we see that a Raja, how he should protect the kingdom. First, he has to understand what is the purpose of the Lord's creation. Purpose of the Lord's creation is twofold. The purpose of the Lord's creation, it is described again in another verse in the Bhagavatam. Which verse? Purpose of the Lord's creation, 10.87.2. Buddhindriya manapranan jananam asrijat prabhuhu matrartam cha bhavartam cha atmane kalpanaya cha. The Supreme Lord manifested the buddhi, intelligence, senses, mind, and the prana of the living entities, so that the living entities can indulge their desires for sense gratification, take repeated births to engage in fruitive activities. Matrartam cha bhavartam cha atmane kalpanaya cha. The Lord has actually provided the buddhi, indriya, mana, prana of the living entities, so that the living entities can enjoy sense gratification and can undergo repeated births and ultimately attain liberation. Matrartam, bhavartam, and atmane akalpanaya. The ultimate purpose is that akalpanaya, that means the liberation from this world. Because not everybody is ready for liberation immediately. Everyone wants sense enjoyment. Therefore, matrartham and bhavartham, they are also mentioned. So here, Raja, a devotee king, he knows the purpose of the world. Purpose of the Lord's creation. Therefore, he has to facilitate the sense enjoyment of the living entities, but within the boundaries of dharma, not according to the whimsical, in an unrestricted way. At the same time, he should facilitate their spiritual advancement. So Prithu Maharaj did that. So in that way, he protected the citizens. Because he protected the citizens in that way, therefore the earth supplied all the necessities. So and then there is also, if you see the Bhagavatam, Lord Vishnu is directly instructing Prithu about how to protect the, directly instructing Prithu about how he should protect the citizens. Lord Vishnu tells to Prithu in 2 verses, Samas samam nottama madhyamadama sukhecha dukhecha jitendriyashaya mayopakluptha kila loka samyuto vidatsvavira kila loka rakshanam. Sama, being equal in happiness and distress, sukhecha dukhecha. Treating the samana, uttama, madhyama, adama, treating the high, middle, and low living entities equally. Jitendriyashaya, controlling the mind and senses. Controlling the mind and senses, and equipped with all types of persons supplied by me, please engage in protecting all the people. Vidatsva Veera Akila Loka Rakshanam. So Vishnu is telling Prithu to protect the people, protect all the citizens. So being endowed with the people supplied by me, that means the ministers, the guides, you should be equal, and then equal to everyone. You must protect the citizens. And then he said, Shreya Praja Palanameva Rajyo Yat Samparaye Sukrutat Sashtamamsham Hartanyata Krita Punya Prajanam Arakshita Karaharo Gamatti Shreyaha Prajapalanam Eva Rajyaha. it is most beneficial for the king to protect the population. Shreyaha Prajapalan. Because by protecting the population nicely, yet samparaye sukrutat sashtam amsham. By that, he will get 1/6 of the pious activities performed by the citizens. And harta anyata krita punya prajana. If he does not protect the citizens, then the citizens will take away 1/6 of his own pious activities. And citizens will take away 1/6 of his own pious activities, and he will also suffer for the sins committed by the citizens. Arakshita karaharogam atti. So therefore, the king should protect the citizens. So people oftentimes we see nowadays there are many countries, sometimes different natural calamities come, and then there is huge drought or economic recession, and the country is in poverty, etc. Like classic example, we see our own neighbor Pakistan, some extent Sri Lanka also, Bangladesh also suffers. Pakistan is a classic example. So when the head of the people, when they are not protecting the citizens, then the whole country is in poverty. Protecting the citizens means it not only refers to human being, but including the animals within the kingdom. Animals within the kingdom. That means this indiscriminate slaughterhouses where they kill thousands of animals, that allowing them, that will have its own reaction. So this is about this shloka, 46th shloka. We'll go to the next shloka. Satyanrita cha parusha priyavadini cha himsra dayalurapi chartapara vadanya nitya vyaya prachura nitya dhana gamacha varangana iva nripati tirane karupa. So this verse compares a politician or a king to a prostitute. Varangana refers to a prostitute, a Vaishya. So a king, sometimes Satya, sometimes he has to speak the truth. Andrita, sometimes he may have to lie. Parusha, sometimes he has to speak harsh words. Priyavadini, sometimes he has to speak in a very pleasing way. Himsra, sometimes he has to indulge in violence. Dayalu, sometimes he has to be merciful. Arthapara, sometimes he has to be selfish. He has to hold the wealth. Sometimes Vadanya, sometimes he has to be magnanimous. Nitya Vyaya, sometimes he should be spending a lot. And Nitya Vyaya, Prachura Nitya Dhanagama, sometimes he has to put endeavor to accumulate wealth. Sometimes he should be spending, sometimes he has to put effort to accumulate wealth. So all these are, we see, opposite natures, Satya and Andrita. Parusha Priyavadini, opposite. Himsra Dayalu. Arthapara Vadanya. Nitya Vyaya Prachuran Nitya Dhanagama. Both opposite natures. So Varangana Iva. So because a prostitute also has many opposite natures. Sometimes she will speak the truth, sometimes she will speak the lie, sometimes Priyavadini, sometimes Parusha. So Varangana Iva, Nripati, Nripaniti, particularly the Rajaniti, Nripanitir Aneka Rupa. Nripanitir Aneka Rupa. A Rajaniti has many facets. This is the policy of the kings is like the prostitute, a courtesan, which has manifold appearances, Aneka Rupa. So we see that a king, he has to understand dharma. He has to understand the static nature of dharma and the dynamic nature of dharma. So sometimes the people, when they don't understand the dynamic nature of the things, dynamic nature of dharma, when they become confined to the static nature, because of that they may make mistakes. So, for example, like if we see Ram and Krishna, Lord Ram, he was a Maryada Purusha, Adarsha Purusha. He always followed the rules. Krishna sometimes broke the rules. But Lord Ram following the rules and Krishna breaking the rules both had the same effect, that is establishment of dharma. Na Rama Sadrusho Raja Prithivya Nitim Anubhut. Na Kuta Niti Abhavat Sri Krishna Sadrusho Nrupaha. There is nobody like Lord Ram who followed the Niti in this world properly. And there is nobody like Krishna who exhibited diplomacy also. Kutaniti means diplomacy. So both are like, especially for a king, he sometimes, ultimately a king, he should be confined to dharma. But sometimes for the sake of dharma, one may have to exhibit violence, sometimes dayaluta. For the sake of dharma, for the establishment of dharma, sometimes a king may have to speak lie also. For the sake of dharma, sometimes he has to be selfish, sometimes he has to be liberal also. So we can see one cannot make one quality as the goal. The goal is actually dharma. The qualities should be used as a tool for the sake of dharma. So sometimes when somebody makes the qualities as the goal, there are good qualities, they are predominantly good qualities, but every good quality also has a flip side. In certain circumstances, the same good quality may have may produce a wrong result actually. So therefore, but if the person is very stubborn about that particular quality, he has made the quality as the goal instead of dharma as the goal, then he may commit mistakes actually. For example, Yudhishthira Maharaj was a blighted liberalist, blighted literalist of dharma. He was like before the gambling match, Yudhishthira Maharaj was too attached to being a literally follow every details of dharma. Yudhishthira Maharaj understood only the sthiti of dharma, but not its gati. That means Yudhishthira Maharaj was unclear about the static and the dynamic nature of dharma. So in every dharma, there is a static aspect and there is a dynamic aspect. The static aspect is something which is a constant aspect, and there is something dynamic aspect of dharma which the application will change from time to time. Yudhishthira Maharaj was unclear about the static and the dynamic elements of dharma. So he only understood the sthiti of dharma, but not its gati. I mean, he understood the dharma literally. So there, what is the proof for that? Because the way he accepted the gambling match. He accepted the invitation for the gambling match. He himself is not good in gambling, and he knows the evils of gambling. But he accepted the invitation of the gambling match not once but twice. In the first one, after losing everything, after his own wife was thoroughly insulted in the open assembly in the first gambling match, then because of Draupadi, they got back everything. And then they started leaving. They left Hastinapur. They were going back to their kingdom. But then on the way, again, Dhritarashtra sent him an invitation to again participate in the gambling match. The second gambling match, he again accepted the invitation. So why he accepted the invitation? Because of that blind vow which he took. That anybody who is an elder to me, if he makes some request to me, I will never disobey. So this is a very, this kind of a king cannot take such a personal vow actually. It's like, for example, suppose if army commander, if he takes a vow, so I will not lift weapons for so many days. I will not lift weapon for so many hours in a day or in certain days in a month. If he takes some kind of a personal vow like that, or I will not lift weapons till I complete my rounds, something like that. So he cannot take such kind of personal vow actually. Or suppose a person he is given the service of allocating, say, in a temple context. Suppose a devotee is given the service of allocating different rooms for the classes. There are Bhaktivedanta hall, Bhakti Siddhanta hall, base classrooms. So different people actually different preachers make a request. So can you allot this room on this particular day? I have this program. Can you allot this room for me? Like they send emails and WhatsApp messages. But if the person who is given the charge of service of allotting the rooms, if he takes a personal vow that I will check, say, the email or WhatsApp message only certain times, or if he takes a personal vow of I will not use the mobile, I will not use this kind of mobile, I will not use, I don't, if he's not using the WhatsApp, if he's not using the email, if he's not careless about checking the email and WhatsApp, because it is distracting me in my sadhana. So if he takes, one who is given the service, if he takes such a personal vow, then it will affect other people's services. Recently it happened actually. So there was a Gita course which was planned, and they had sent the message for actually booking the hall. Some 80-90 people have registered, and 1 hour before the course, suddenly the person was giving the Gita course, he saw that Bhaktivedanta hall is full with the Govinda's party. But they have planned the whole Gita course with 100 people. The Bhaktivedanta hall. Suddenly they saw that it's filled with Govinda's party. And then they found out the person was booking the halls. He was little careless about booking it actually. So because of one person, the program suffered, and then last minute they had to shift the Gita course to Gopalji hall. Like that. So the point why I'm saying is that Yudhishthira Maharaj was in a kingdom, he was a king, but he took a personal vow, and therefore he committed blindly accepted the invitation of the gambling match twice. And he was not good in gambling, but he was fascinated by gambling. So his weakness for gambling and an exaggerated sense of his own infallibility at the dice game, at the gambling match, was the real source of the downfall. So that his weakness for gambling and his exaggerated sense of his infallibility, that I can never commit a mistake, it made him interpret Duryodhan's poison-tipped invitation to gambling as a discharge of his Rajadharma. It made him interpret, it made him actually justify accepting Duryodhan's invitation for gambling as if that he is performing Rajadharma. It made him forget that Rajadharma is a mere subset of Dharma. So therefore, we see that gambling match as a practical demonstration of Yudhishthir abandoning Dharma itself. And what was the praise for it? Self-inflicted slavery and the public disrobing of his own wife. The loss of the kingdom and the rest are secondary losses in comparison to these two things. So therefore, we see that in the practice of Dharma, some things are uncompromising, some things are static, and some things are dynamic. Those things which should not be compromised, we should be firm in that. And those things which are details, which need to be compromised for the sake of the larger sake of the Dharma, and they have to be further, the needful has to be done. Sometimes one may have to speak the truth, sometimes the falsity, like that. So we say confusion is the father of compromise. Conviction is the mother of Dharma. So, for example, if you see...
Can you please repeat this too? Sorry.
Confusion is the father of compromise. When a person is confused, at that time he ends up compromising certain principles. And conviction is the mother of Dharma. The strong faith, conviction is the mother of Dharma. So, for example, we see Krishna definitely performed many. Krishna was a very clever diplomat. In the Bhagavad and the Mahabharata, we see Krishna's role as a diplomat, as a statesman. At the same time, Krishna also did not compromise in many things. When he came as a peace messenger, Duryodhan made an elaborate arrangement for hosting Krishna. And he was persistently requesting Krishna to stay in his palace and honor that feast. But Krishna was equally persistent in his refusal. And Krishna revealed finally Krishna revealed the real reason why he was refusing. What was that? Krishna said that I will never abandon Dharma for any reason, be it desire, greed, enmity, suspicion, or wealth. I will never abandon Dharma for any reason. O Duryodhan, a person will eat another person's food only for two reasons. One reason is that if he has absolutely no means of survival. Second is if he has genuine affection for that person. Then Krishna said that you don't have genuine affection to me. You are not dear to me. And therefore, since you don't have genuine affection for me, and I don't have affection for you, so therefore I don't want to eat. And secondly, I am also not in some dire need that I am really struggling for my survival. So therefore, both the reasons are not there. So therefore, I don't want to eat. And your food has been tainted by your heinousness and is therefore unpalatable to me. So we can see the uncompromising aspect of Krishna. Uncompromising aspect of Krishna. So oftentimes if we see the Hindu society, they abandoned this uncompromising aspect of Krishna. They forgot this uncompromising aspect of Krishna for centuries, for various reasons. So the spirit of unambiguously recognizing the evil for what it is and telling it to its face, just like Krishna told right in the face Duryodhana, your food is unpalatable to me because you don't have affection for me. But one of the reasons why the Sanatan Dharma collapsed is that because the followers of Sanatan Dharma, they forgot to learn this uncompromising aspect of Krishna. Therefore, they became subservient to people who are not followers of Varnashram Dharma. They became subservient to the Malechas and Yavanas. And when they became subservient to the Malechas and Yavanas, they forgot the uncompromising aspect. Therefore, the Varnashram Dharma collapsed. So, therefore, we see there are kings like Rana Pratap Singh, Chhatravadi, Shivaji, and there are people who never compromised. Come what may, we will never allow ourselves to be ruled by the Mughals, the Malechas. So, anyway, what I am saying is that there is a static aspect of Dharma and there is a dynamic aspect of Dharma. The static aspect, we have to be uncompromising. And we have also understand that we have to understand the dynamic aspect of Dharma. And for the sake of Dharma, sometimes the Rajaniti allows a king to sometimes speak a truth, sometimes a lie, sometimes spend a lot, sometimes like put effort to simply accumulate wealth. Like during the COVID time, India declared giving vaccines to other countries. But even in that, there are diplomacy involved. They sent vaccines to those countries who will be beneficial to India. You cannot behave a prime minister to be like a sadhu, actually. The prime minister, they were calculative in doing welfare to countries. Which countries we should send? It was very strategic. At the same time, suddenly there was shortage of the vaccines in India. They stopped that. They suddenly stopped sending vaccines to other countries, and they're giving to like during the second wave or something like that. After the second wave, they administered vaccines to Indian citizens. So sometimes there was like generosity, sometimes somebody selfish attitude was there. So Rajaniti has these aspects. So Bhartrhari is capturing that actually. And Himsra Dayalurapi. Himsra Dayalurapi. Sometimes you have to be magnanimous, sometimes you have to be you have to show your this one, how you can go even to the enemy territory and then attack the terrorists. They did the, what is that, surgical strike and those things actually. Sometimes you have to show the violence. So therefore, this particular shloka is talking about the diplomacy, the nature of diplomacy. So there is a shloka in the Chanakya Niti, Natyantam saralena bhavyam gatva pashya vanastalim chidyante saralastatra kubja tishtanti padapa. A man should be simple-hearted, straight-mannered, but not a simpleton. Not a simpleton. Otherwise, he will be exploited and his generosity will be taken for granted. So therefore, one should never be too simple. If, for example, one goes to the jungle, one beholds that the simple, straight trees have been cut. But those trees which grow in a haphazard manner, they have been spared. So therefore, when we talk about simplicity, within the Vaishnava society, one has to be simple, one should not be diplomatic. Because Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says in his instruction, when he talks about the weeds that grow with the devotional service, he says there are innumerable weeds, but he gives few examples. Kutinati, Jiva Kamsana, Nishiddhachara, Kutinati. The first example he gives is diplomatic behavior. So within the Vaishnava society, one has to be simple. One should not be diplomatic. But while living in this world, dealing with the various people, oftentimes to survive, one will have to be diplomatic in the practical world. Otherwise, if a person is too simple, if a person is simpleton, he will be exploited. So even Prabhupada also demonstrated his diplomatic skills in dealing with the Dai Nippon company in negotiating for the Krishna book deal. He demonstrated his diplomatic skills in the Fisher Mansion, bargaining of the Fisher Mansion, and the Jugu Temple, Mr. Nair episode. And within the society of devotees, sometimes if we are diplomatic, it should be for the purpose of say bringing a devotee close to Krishna. For example, Chaitanya Charitamrita is described that Raja Mantri Ramananda Vyavahare Nipuna Raja Preeti Karhi Dravaila Prabhuramana. So Ramananda Rai was indeed a diplomatic minister for the king, and his general behavior was very expert. And simply by describing the Prataparudra Maharaj's love for Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he gradually softened Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's mind. So usually one should not be exhibit diplomatic behavior within the community of devotees. Diplomatic behavior means political behavior, having something in the mind and speaking something else, because that will eventually create a distrust actually. And when the love and trust is lost, then it creates disunity. So therefore, diplomatic behavior should be avoided. But if at all we have to use diplomatic behavior within the community of devotees, it is for the purpose of bringing the devotee close to Krishna. Yes, like Ramananda Rai used his diplomatic behavior in order to soften Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's mind so that Prataparudra Maharaj can get the association of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So Prabhupada says that the diplomacy of Ramananda Rai and entreaties of Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya and all the other great devotees succeeded. The conclusion is that diplomacy used for the service of the Lord is a form of devotional service. Another example, when Kamsa was about to kill Devaki, at that time Vasudeva started preaching to Kamsa. But although he spoke so many things, Kamsa was neither terrified by Vasudeva speaking, nor was he pacified. He remained steady in his determination to kill Devaki. So at that time, it is described that Prasanna Vadanam Bojo Nishamsam Nirapatrapam Manasa Duyamanena Vihasan Idam Abravit. So Vasudeva's internal mind was filled with anxiety because his wife was facing danger. But in order to please the cruel and shameless and sinful Kamsa, Nishamsam Nirapatrapam, cruel, shameless and sinful Kamsa, Vasudeva externally smiled. He exhibited diplomatic behavior. So therefore Prabhupada says that sometimes one must act duplicitously in a dangerous situation. One may have to speak a lie. Vasudeva spoke a lie only because he gave first 7 sons, first 6 sons to hand it over to Kamsa, but the 8th son he cheated. He didn't hand over to Kamsa. So in order to save his wife, Vasudeva actually was going to make a promise. So the material world is complicated, and to execute one's duties, one cannot avoid adopting such a diplomacy. Vasudeva did everything possible to save his wife for the sake of begetting Krishna. This indicates that one may act duplicitously for the purpose of saving Krishna and his interests. So that is what actually Vasudeva did. Last few slokas that will end. Another place in the Bhagavatam it is said that Griheshu Kuta Dharmeshu Dukkha Tantresh Atandritaha Kurvan Dukkha Pratikaram Sukavan Manyate Grihi. The attached householder remains in his family life, which is full of diplomacy, Kuta Dharmeshu, politics, and constantly spreading miseries. Restricted in his acts of sense gratification, he acts just to counteract his miseries. And if he can successfully counteract such miseries, he thinks that he is happy. In this purport also, Prabhupada says that the material world is so made that unless one becomes a clever diplomat, his life will be a failure. So not to speak of human society, even the society of the lower animals cleverly manages its bodily demands of eating, sleeping, and mating. But human society has to compete. And in the attempt to be successful, the entire society becomes full of diplomacy. So, therefore, Narada Muni tells to Yudhishthira Maharaj, sometimes a grahastha, he may get different invitations from different sections. Some relatives will tell you, come for this, you come this thing. There will be different suggestions from different people. But Narada says that Nyatayaha pitarau putra bratara suhridopare yad vadanti yad icchanti chanumodeta nirmamaha. But a grahastha should externally say that, yes, sir, that is all right. But internally, he should be determined not to create a cumbersome life in which the purpose of life will not be fulfilled. Means like he may have to act diplomatically for the sake understanding the purpose of life. So anyway, the shloka, if we see, like there are politicians, for example, there are politicians, what they have spoken some years back, they completely contradict in another speech. Like if he is here sometime, Arvind Kejriwal, what he spoke previously, he'll be completely contradicting. Every politician will have. But there are politicians, they completely contradict what they speak or what they did previously, whom they give so much of, whom they blasphemed, which party they blasphemed previously. Now, after some years, they are ready to actually unite with the same party. Exactly like a prostitute. But they may be doing only for the sake of money. They are doing only purely for the sake of power, and there is absolutely no national interest. There's absolutely no element of dharma. But there are political parties, at least whatever the current political parties, the best among this one, at least BJP will also do same things, joining with different people, etc. But at least some national interest is there, some concern for dharma is there. So therefore, diplomacy, it is a like speaking truth, speaking lie, sometimes like acting contradictory. It is the nature of the politics, the nature of the Rajaniti. But ultimately, it should be for the sake of dharma, actually. It should be, if it is done for the sake of dharma, then such kind of Rajaniti becomes a kind of devotional. It becomes because it is made subordinate to dharma, then that Rajaniti is actually appropriate. Or within the devotional circle, if a person is acting diplomatically for the sake of devotional service, for protecting Krishna's interest, or bringing a devotee close to Krishna, then that kind of diplomacy becomes a kind of devotional service, just like what Ramananda Rai did or Vasudev did. So therefore, the most important point is that when the Rajaniti is exhibited, then it should be made subordinate for the sake of dharma. Then that kind of Rajaniti is all right. Otherwise, without that dharma in the center, when a politician simply changes the color all the time, with no dharma, selflessness, national interest, when they are doing like that, and such kind of political parties are like the lowest, they are like the lowest, like a prostitutes only. Hare Krishna. So today we could just see only 2 shlokas. One is about the Rajaniti and there is about the how the king's duty to protect the citizens. Hare Krishna. If anybody wants to share anything.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Yes, Mother.
Go ahead, Mother. Hare Krishna, Prabhu. So ultimately, the intention matters for what purpose you're using the diplomacy. Isn't it?
Yes.
For that, you require a lot of maturity, isn't it, Prabhu?
Yeah, diplomacy should be for the purpose of bhakti and dharma. So Yudhishthira Maharaj, after the gambling match, he learned. He made the mistakes, was blindly loyal to the superiors. But after the gambling match, he learned. Therefore, even the Kurukshetra war was about to begin, he went to take blessings from Bhishma and Drona. But although he was taking blessings from them, but within that also there was an act of diplomacy. By offering obeisances, he pleased them. And then Bhishma said that
Vijayi Baba.
Vijayi Baba, I am ready to give any benediction, he said. Then he asked that how can we kill you actually? What is the secret of actually overpowering you, killing you? So there was an element of diplomacy that is required.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, this statement of yours is very wonderful, but just I wanted a little clarity. Confusion is the father of compromise, whereas conviction is the mother of dharma. Like, I
So your voice is getting cut.
More like a determination. Is it okay now, Prabhuji?
Now it is better.
So this part I was a little confused. How conviction is the mother of dharma? It should be conviction is the mother of determination. Like instead of confusion, compromise, there has to be determination. So I needed to know the definition of dharma. How this dharma word fits in with conviction is the mother of dharma.
Yeah, conviction. Here we say that faith in the Shastra, Shraddha in the Shastra, that is the mother of dharma. The uncompromising attitude. Conviction. Okay. Shraddha means what? Shraddha hi Shastrartha Vishwasa. The complete faith in the Shastra, that is called as Shraddha. So therefore, and Shastras only describe what is dharma. Therefore, the conviction in the Shastra, that is the mother of dharma.
Okay, understood. Yeah. Thank you for this.
Hari Bol, Prabhu.
Hari Bol, Prabhu.
Prabhu, one question related to the static and the dynamic aspect of dharma. The Semitic religions they are very much bound to their, the scriptures. So they don't become dynamic at all. So any comment on that? What? Because they just follow it and they do anything to follow it. So needed your comment on that. Thank you.
Yeah, the Semitic religions like Christianity, Islam,
Yeah.
they are very much literally they are stubborn about the words actually.
Okay.
I'm not able to add any thoughts currently. I think in my mind.
No problem. Thank you. Thank you.
If we see in the Sanatan Dharma, we have one of the how this dynamic aspect of Dharma is taken care of by the Apat Dharma aspect. There is a regular Dharma, and there is also a Apat Dharma. So Apat Dharma and facilitates the dynamic nature of this one. And one of the quality of Krishna is also called as Desha Kala Vibhagavit, one who knows how to act according to the time, place, and circumstances. So this aspect, there are many examples in the Shastras also. For example, according to the Niti, when you are dealing with the enemy, you should not leave even a single trace of the enemy. Whether it is fire, disease, or the enemy, you should completely destroy it, not leave behind even a single trace. Otherwise, it will again grow. But the way Krishna dealt with the Jarasandha, he killed the entire army except Jarasandha. He didn't follow this Niti principle only. But because Krishna was seeing the overall purpose, he was seeing that my purpose is, I have come here to actually eradicate adharma, to remove the burden of the earth. And Jarasandha's enthusiasm to collect so many adharmic people in one place, I can use that as an instrument in my overall mission of establishing dharma. So Krishna was very clever and he saw that. Whatever came to my mind and sharing. But your point is valid. The Semitic religions, they don't understand the dynamic nature of.
Yes, Prabhu. Only one comment on, it's a very practical thing. When the girls, they get children married, they they just sometimes lie that their daughter or son knows this, like they know cooking, or so that is not considered as lie, because they want to get their daughters or the son married. So I was reading one book by Tilak. He mentions this is part of dharma only, but like hinsa also part of if you have to the 10 principles of dharma given by Manu is you should not do violence, but if somebody is being raped or being harassed, then you can do violence. So dharma has to be dynamic, otherwise you cannot function actually in society. This is a small comment.
Yeah, thank you. There is a famous saying in Tamil actually. You can speak 1,000 lies to arrange for one marriage.
So, Prabhuji, Bhishma's vow of celibacy also, if you see, is quite rigidity, no? It was not... and one very beautiful, purport Prabhupada says in the 4th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, yourself discussed about Prithu Maharaj. So the first shloka only, where it says, Sri Bhagavan Uvacha, the kings of all planets are especially meant for protection of the inhabitants and their
therefore, the royal order should understand the science of Bhagavad Gita in order to be able to rule the citizens and protect them from material bondage to lust. So human life is meant for cultivation of spiritual knowledge and eternal relationship with the spiritual personality of Godhead, and the executive heads of all the states and all the planets are obliged to impart the lesson to the citizen by education, culture, and devotion. So,
thank you for sharing. Anybody else wants to say anything? King Satyavrata also mentions the purpose of creation. Bhagavatam 8th canto. Okay.
Prabhuji, sorry, can you repeat the last bit? What did you say?
In the chat, there was a comment. King Satyavrata also mentions the purpose of creation. Shyamukund Prabhu has mentioned the chat.
एक मिनट हरे कृष्णा प्रभु जी
हाँ.
and even Prabhu ji, the previously named the Veer Khas and Sakar Malik also gave some bribes for the sake of preaching to meet Chaitanya. So as you said that the dharma, the goal should be dharma, but to get to it one can use sometime diplomacy. Yeah, thank you, Prabhu.
Diplomacy, the personal practice, it is like a weed. Mahaprabhu is saying putinati. But sometimes in the world outside, we may have to use diplomacy. And within the devotee circle, if we have to use, it should be for the purpose of bringing the devotee close to Krishna. Or like that. For a selfless purpose.
So, Prabhuji, politics entering spirituality is like Maya, right? It's entering inside.
Yeah, within the community, there should not be. If somebody has a political disposition, one can dovetail the disposition in Krishna's service, but not dovetail the disposition within the community. Actually. That will create distrust. So we'll stop here. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Srila Gaura Bhakta Vrinda ki jai, Niti Shatakam ki jai.
Thank you, Prabhu.